Alright, good evening, heroes and heroines, and welcome to Practising Programming in C, where we're going to do some more stuff on Cinera. Where we got up to was we got the thing actually switching the current project. So when we, for example, when we edit a file, when we edit a HTML file, it's going to actually switch to the correct project that HTML file is supposed to be associated with. So if you edit this file here, let's actually edit a later one. What's the most recent episode? Actually, I can see it here, actually, can't I? Not that it matters at all, but 336, 536. So if we just append this, Snekoon, is that right? I wonder if I could use that character as well. I'm not sure if I ever tried that actually. I suppose I could try it. If it crashes, then we just know that it doesn't work. So it didn't crash. Might be interesting to have a look at that file actually, just to see what we actually made. Ah, right, so it does that. Yeah, I might want to do something about that, mightn't I? Basically, all that's saying is it's effectively turned unhandled characters into this. I think we should take a look at what the CSS selectors can actually contain and actually be a bit more serious about that, I think. Let's leave that as a note though. It's not what I wanted. Is it CSS identifiers or CSS selectors? I mean, it's kind of CSS class names, I think, isn't it? I think that's what you're talking about. Because you should see it's in sanitized punctuation, isn't it? Yeah, this is it here. It's actually sanitized punctuation. So really, we would need an actual function that does it properly for CSS. And enable generate atomic colors. Via, what do you call it, sanitized punctuation. Yeah, that sounds fine. Well, for now, just change that back to that. And so we can continue to illustrate what we're talking about. So you change this file in hero code and it correctly switches to the right project. Change that back. You can now do the same with risky. Is there a 50th? There is a 50th. Actually, is there a 60th even? 60, I think 64 is the most recent, isn't it? What's this now? Samarost. Right. Now, previously we got up to there. We just edited this file, and this correctly switched to this project, and then operated in the context of risky. So similarly, if I just put that back and then go to, do we have code in this thing? No. Right, there's code. Sapooch. Amazing names of these tracks. Sapouch, maybe, I guess. I guess it's all Czech because I think Thomas Dvořák is himself Czech, I think. Is that true? Yeah, it's from Prague. So yeah, we got up to there previously. When I say there, I mean here. And now we've done that thing, we've switched to risky book card. So this operated in the context of risky book card. Reinserted this, and all is fine. Now you can sort of see that this is all operating. It's all controlled by the directory, effectively. It's controlled by the directory in which the files reside. So if I go to monitor directories into monitor file system, second project is what is doing it. Compress is equal to P. How do I illustrate this exactly? I guess init project maybe? Basically, I'm just trying to illustrate the fact that it's driven by the switching of the things is driven by the directory in which the thing resides. I guess the watch handle. Yeah, so it's when you push the watch handle, so it's per watch handle effectively. And are we still printing out the watch handles? So yeah, we are. Just about, we can fit them on. So it's driven by these guys. These paths. Now, since it's driven by these paths here, we could end up in a situation where two people, if we don't handle, I mean, currently we don't handle it, we could end up in a situation where two people have the same path for their HTML based directory. Two different projects have that same path set. If that happens, then we're not going to be able to reliably know which projects we should be operating on. That's basically the situation. And that's what I want to handle. So let's do it. And last episode also, I was wondering where to actually do it. I was thinking, do I do it in the config parser, or do I do it in Cinera's own code? Sort of the usage code side of it. And the only question I had at the time, of the last episode, was where is it most correct to do it? And that was a pretty unsatisfactory question because I don't really care about correctness at all. I mean, I do care about it in the context of like making sure that I'm writing code that is syntactically correct, so it will actually compile. But when you're talking about like a system, like a systemic correctness, I think it's just garbage. The question that I really needed to ask was, if we encounter a duplicate, or if we encounter clashes of directories in these two places, what is the experience? What's going to happen? So if we encounter the clash when we're doing the parsing of the config, what will we see? Or let's do the other way actually. If we do it in the other context, right, when we're synchronizing the stuff up, right, because effectively we'd probably be doing it yeah, deduplicating those. Well, we only do the watch handles, wouldn't it? I was sort of thinking that you do it in here. So effectively, you come into push watch handle, and like check if this path is unique, right? Check if there are any existing HTML watch handles showing that path. And if there are some, then we report the error and exit. If we were to do it that way, you can see that this is happening in sync project, right? And sync project does quite a lot. It does like sync db within input, which is, it's actually like all this stuff. Synchronizing unattached directory. I wonder why that's written there exactly. Just run it again. In fact, this is part of it. All this stuff that's flying past here. Oh, we've got sleep, haven't we? That was what that was. Sleep 4 still happened. Yeah. Like, why did that just stop and then suddenly lurch forward? I think we can just leave it there for now. In fact, we can leave the sleep there as well, frankly. Just remove this once we've done this bit of code, we can remove this. So effectively, right, that stuff is going to happen. It's going to do sync db with input for all of these guys. So you could conceivably go through one of these. Right. You could sync hero code and then go through to somebody else and then realise, oh no, this shares the same path. Like this, it shares the same input path, the same input directory. Now, upon encountering that failure, upon encountering that clash, you've already synchronized somebody, right? And it's conceivable that person could even be incorrect, right? It could have been operating on the wrong HTML files. So if we were to handle it out there, then we would have had this experience of having potentially processed the wrong stuff. If, however, if we handle the clashes of HTML directory in the config parser, then all that would happen is we wouldn't get any of this garbage. We'd just get simply the config being parsed, and then when we're resolving the directories and stuff, it would just encounter the error. It'd probably also just continue to tot up all the errors, all the places where that thing clashes, and then it can just report those things and exit, and then you're done, and it's done nothing. So that's my argument for doing it in the config parser. I mean, there isn't another option. You could do the config parser, and then you could do like a sort of introductory sort of thing in Cinera's code, which simply just goes through all the projects, just making sure that the HTML directories are unique. But I think the reason for doing that would be if you want the config parser to be sort of adaptable, like you want to be able to move it between, you want to use the same config parser for different projects, and these different projects don't necessarily have the same stuff. But that's really not it's really not a goal of this config parser at all. It is pretty specific to Cinera, and I probably will actually just paste the entirety of cinera.c config.c into cinera.c anyway, so it'll all be in the same file. Right, so since I don't need to actually bother sort of keeping the config its own thing, I might as well do a bit of this Cinera specific stuff, enforcing this unique HTML directories thing. Yeah, in fact, this would be a HTML directory, annotation directory. I'm fine to enforce that in the config itself. So let's go over to it, config.c. And it'll be in resolve config, probably. Or would it? Where would it be? Push projects? Yeah, it will be one of these functions. Push project onto project. Not sure I like that naming, by the way. Do I? I suppose the naming that I'd probably prefer would be, I mean, this really doesn't matter in the slightest, but basically I'd be preferring to do like sort of a top level one. In other words, this push project onto config would be the top level function. push project onto push project onto project. Since we're pushing the project onto a project itself, I would tend to call this just push project. Similarly, get project from project, I'd just say get project. Right. And then this thing up here, I think this is the push project, isn't it? Yeah, I'd just call this one push project interior. Right, which is the thing that both of the push projects would call. I suppose this one is a little bit different in the sense that it has to take the config anyway. So it might be better to keep these named like this actually. The only real difference between the push project onto config and the push project onto project is that this takes a project in addition to the stuff that this guy takes. So yeah, it really doesn't matter. Does not matter in the slightest. So yeah, when we come into here, where's HTML dir? Basically, this HTML dir here, let's just resolve string. So it really needs to do. What does it need to do? It's going to have to make sure it's unique. I'm just wondering if we should check if it's unique before doing the resolve string. And before stripping slashes. In some ways it just doesn't matter, does it? Because yeah, if we're gonna fail, it's just gonna quit anyway. So it's not going to really do too much stuff that's unnecessary. So yeah, we need first of all some sort of a thing push error. I think we just need to wrap it up, don't we? I guess config error clash would be the thing that you'd want to do, isn't it? Well, I think in the strip slash does actually return a pointer to a string. It doesn't, it just returns an actual string. So that is going to be setting that to be that, is it? Okay, so I suppose it's just going to be a void then, should we just say? So effectively, when we encounter this thing here, you just handle all the stuff, basically. So it's like, I don't know, set unique. Yeah, it's kind of like on clash. HML do. So, oh right, yeah, so since I'm working in this directory, in this file, I actually need to build the other file. It needs to take the P. It needs to take the C as well. So it needs to take the config, C, the resolution errors, which is kind of perfect because we're going to have to do that. The project tree. And then the P abs. What is I exactly? P pairs. Is that right? I think that's right. P abs is just something that we need to know about. Let's put the project after the E, maybe. So it kind of matches that. I suppose I could have known what was that HTML do originally? It was this. So it's taking the config, the E, the P, the project tree, is that right? Config pair. too many arguments to this function. It is a CE parent and S. CE parent and then the S. Yeah, P abs is wanting to take. Strip slashes. Oh, was the strip slashes part of the? Was the P abs part of strip slashes actually? So yeah, I think what we want to do and it's basically deduplicate the result. Well, it's basically you basically want to be able to say, does this string clash? It's effectively this actually. If this, they want to configure a clash of some type and then push an error. I think. Is that right? And it's going to be the just a pointer to the, well, actually, could it be a pointer to it? Yeah, couldn't it? Couldn't it? Push project. Maybe, I don't know actually. Basically, we could end up in a situation here where yeah, when we do this fit, if we have to reallocate, we could end up invalidating some pointers. So since we're talking about resolving the string, I think this result here will never get moved, right? Because it's been... I think it's in the config, isn't it? The config itself is going to contain a memory block. Yeah, the result variables. So it's going to be in there. So the pointer, the base pointer for this string is going to be correct all the time. Basically what I'd like to be able to do well, now that I think about it, that's no problem, is it? Yeah, what I'd like to be able to do is say for each string, say how many projects are actually, so this count is actually the project count, right? All these projects are associated with this HTML thing, effectively, and then I'm going to have a number of these, which we then actually go through. So I guess it's like a, I don't know, like a string association. Right? What I'm effectively saying is, this may be too complicated. Maybe more complicated than they need to be. Basically, the reason I'm doing this, the reason I'm adding the projects to it, the reason I'm adding this to it, is that I'd like to be able, at the very end, where we handle the actual exit of it. Well, is it just here? Resolve variables. Yeah, it does seem to be right here, doesn't it? I'd like to be able to print out if the errors count is greater than 0. I'd like to be able to print out all of the projects that are associated with it, but it sort of seems like I'm not actually going to be doing that. Like, it doesn't really work in that way. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that we can't make it work like that. But I think, yeah, if you look at config error sizing, for example, that just straight up does the print. You can only determine if something clashes once a second person even is in the mix. You can't actually... I mean, you probably could print them out as you go. But I'm inclined to say, when you get to here, if the average count is greater than 0, then what you first of all do is you print out the clashes, essentially. Right, print the clashes, and then free the errors. What are the errors exactly? Resolution errors. They're just Cinera counts. And what is a resolution error? Position variable. I don't think it's going to have a variable necessarily. Yeah, I suppose you literally just push just a plain old error. And we don't care what sort of error it is, because, I mean, down there, they don't get printed anyway. All these are supposed to be doing is telling us that there are an error. Won't be surprised if there are push errors that don't actually take anything interesting. For the fourth argument. Okay, so we don't know what the variable is going to be in these situations. Well, actually, I suppose now that I think about it, it's just going to be HTML thing, isn't it? It's just this. So yeah, you can just pass that, but it, like I say, it won't really matter, I don't think. I think that's a string, is it? Token position. I mean, we do have the config pair, actually, don't we? Which I think actually comes with its position. Yeah. So I suppose we could just pass that. See if this is failing. Yes. Equal to argument 3 of push. Oh, it doesn't like the position. It wants a pointer to the position. Oops. Could that be a problem? I think that could be a problem. Couldn't it? Token position. Right, because this pair could get moved somewhere, couldn't it? Like when you do a push pair. Right. We might have to do this fit, which would move that pair. Ah, okay, so it actually dereferences it anyway, doesn't it? So since it's doing that dereferencing, does it need to take it like that? Oh, is it because you can pass 0, can't you? Yeah, you can pass 0. Okay, fine. Let us just let that happen. And then pass it like this, and this is fine because it is getting dereferenced in the function. It's not going to stick around and potentially go stale at some point. So yeah, let's let it pile up the projects. Right, so it's going to set the actual string. It's going to set the top of the project. So it's going to be a config string association. Config string associations for the HTML does, which you just pass down. Unless we just add it to the config, actually. Would that be right? No, it wouldn't, because the config actually persists out, so we don't want it to be polluted with garbage, right? We only need those associations while we're actually figuring out that people are unique. So effectively what will be happening having resolved this string, strip the slashes, we want to take this result, search for the result in the associations, right? Yeah, I guess. Call it that. Yeah, let's call it that. Searching for this string in the associations. If we find it, then we need to push an error and we need to add this project to this. A pointer to this project. Well, yeah, this needs to be a pointer of pointers. Right. Yeah, the unfortunate thing about this, though, like I say, is the only thing I'm actually... Let me just finish the sentence. The problem with this is, if you need to fit some more projects onto the thing, you know, when you're doing push project, if you need to reallocate the actual projects, these pointers are going to go stale, so you would need to have everybody taking this config string associations thing so you can actually fix up those pointers. Right, it'd be effectively making push project onto project, this person, you have to make fit, take those so that you can actually fix them up. Is that true? Well, actually, probably just this actually. Right, you know where the children are, and you just have to offset. You'd have to make this person take that structure and offset that child pointer. Same here. Resolve variables. Maybe that isn't such a big deal. Because, yeah, resolve variables is going to have to set these guys up anyway, aren't they? You know, in the same way they were doing resolution errors here. Yeah, let's make it happen. Let's just say that does happen. So, config string associations. So it's nulled out to begin with. And then the HTML, I think this function itself doesn't need to touch the HTML. It would only have to pass it through to this function here. You know, in the same way that the errors are being passed here. Seep. Does that sound fair? So you can build. No. Right. Just that, wasn't it? But it's coming in as something else, isn't it? Is that right? Isn't there a for declaration as well? Yeah. Now, I guess it's worth noting that these associations are confined to the HTML. You know, there could be things that you want to, there could be more things that you want to be unique, in which case you need to handle it a bit differently, I guess. I guess that's reasonable. Actually, I'm going to back that out and say, rather than calling this A, I am actually going to be specific with this and say that it is the HMR DIRs. Just so it's a bit more explicit. It's a bit clearer that this is only supposed to be used for like one set of things, if that makes sense. It's not like a catch-all thing that the resolution errors are, which, you know, it's supposed to be talking about multiple different types of errors. So what have we got? We've got the associations. Associations I. Is that right? I think it might be. So yeah, if strings match, could be wrong about this, but I think if I just do this out here, then if I'm not mistaken, then by the time I get through to all of this, whether I've broken or not, I should be able to set I to be the effectively I should be able to push well, maybe not actually. If it didn't clash, then we need to push an association. I think that's right. if they merge, then we want to like push project onto association. Is that right? Associate project with association. Does this make sense? Yeah, and it's also this actual association, isn't it? So associations are undeclared. HML does. Yeah, that's probably it, isn't it? So HML does count. HML does associations I dot string. I think that's what you want to be talking about. And this is going to be dereferencing. Well, not dereferencing. We're going to be passing the associations. Yeah, we need that as well, don't we? Push a new association. Sock associations. Right. It doesn't matter though. That's passed as that. Because we're going to have to dereference it anyway. So here we go. Is that all right first? Fit. What's it taking? Within bytes, item count, items per block. Oh, right, item count. Is that the right order? Within bytes, item. So you to add a new association. You're then going to say that the HTML does is equal to this. And then you also want to it's effectively like associate project. So you want to be saying, basically fit in a project pointer. Give it 4. And then just say that a projects at the a project count is equal to the p. Right, isn't that correct? And then you increment that a project count. So it's taking the association, so it's HTML does associations again. And then add a product token association. So you just need to say, you basically need to fit it. Associate. Oh, hang on a minute. I think it's actually, yeah, this should have just been like this, I think. think that's what that should have been. If I'm not mistaken, that's it. Either way, we're going to be setting this result, which I guess is fine. What we do need to do though, when we do the fit project, remember that we're saying this guy needs to actually fix up the pointers in the HTML dirs now in the associations. So for each association you need to fix up the pointers. So the parent child, I think that's literally just a project, isn't it? So we need like a project. I mean, it doesn't really matter how I used to do, but let's just I think it was another push function. You know, where we save off the pointer to the thing before fitting it. Push scope, I feel like it might have been. So the current is what we called it. And then the diff was the new versus current. Okay. And if there's a diff, we need to actually do this. Wow. That's one perilous word count. I mean, it's literally just plus and equals that diff, isn't it? So it's like the A projects at J, but we're talking about the actual address. So is that actually just it? Now let me just try this. Can't remember if you need to do that. Okay. No. So that might just be it. And then we need to do the same thing down in the other person. Now could that just be the same? I think that could, couldn't it? So yeah, offset project pointers. By a diff. Yeah, I guess it's offset association project pointers. Could it compute the diff? What else could it do? Parent shall take with the current. Yeah, I mean, I guess whatever. I guess the alternative to taking the diff would be for it to take the C project and the current, right, and you get rid of this one line. But then it's like, this won't necessarily be called offset association project pointers because it might not have to offset them. And also this function already needs to do something outside. It already needs to save off the current pointer, so it may be fine to keep this kind of symmetry of this being responsible for this and computing the diff before then choosing whether to call this guy who only does the offsetting. So, having done all that, right. Print association clashes. So this doesn't need to print out the associations where there's only one project. It only needs to print out the ones where there's more than one. And interestingly, now that we're in this situation, this doesn't need to be specific to HTML dir, which is kind of interesting. Although we could make it take the yeah, we could make it say, right, sorry. Is that right? I think that might be right. What is the type of the association, or was the ID? Don't know whether it should type or ID. Config string associations. HTML dirs, is that just the pointer to it? So what would you say? Yeah, it would just be going through all the associations. Actually, for all the associations, if the product count of this association is greater than thingamajig, what's something? And then just go through the things. I think it might be worthwhile pulling out that association. So it's it's the string. It's effectively it is literally just, so you write the string up there, and then you list the. I think I'd like to print out the lineages of these projects. And then having done all of that, free associations. So this needs to go through all of the associations, freeing the pointed to the projects, and then it needs to free the actual associations themselves. That's right. And then finally just free the actual associations. And the string. I don't think we need to bother about freeing the strings, because that's going to be talking about the resolved variables. So yeah, we have the HTML does associations. Oh yeah, we need to set the count as well. Oh yeah, free and reset count. That's what we actually want to be doing. Oh yeah, right. So it's the associations dot project. So what I'm actually wanting to be talking about there, isn't it? No, it's not. No, it's not at all. For each association, you want to be removing. Yeah, I think this is right. It's expecting. Oh right, it's expecting. Oh yeah, of course. You need to be able to actually modify it. So unless I'm very much mistaken, that should just now do what we want it to do. Obviously going to actually make this print out something a bit more sensible. Well, I mean, we could. I mean, what is it saying? It's effectively. What information have we got? In the association. So the associations contain. Yeah, effectively nothing, isn't it? Should we just let's run it and just see what presented with. We shouldn't hit the error, by the way, because the config is fine. But we are hitting something. It's a free base account. So it's pushing an association. Let's add project to association. So A projects. So yeah, I need to be talking about A projects, not A itself. Is that right? I think that's right. So for each association, it actually needs to be the projects that I want to be talking about. Right, because I think this guy is complaining here because it's freeing the actual thing that needs to be, it's freeing this guy's containing structure, effectively. So let's try that again. And now I've got an error on 3347. Oh, so it's still erroring here. Attempting free and adjust which is not mallocked. So the association counts. I feel like I've done that before actually. I've passed the dude by address when it shouldn't be passed by address. Right, so we got through all of that. Now if we just go to the config and just say that all of this thing is actually that. Right, so everybody's going to be using the same HTML, we should be hitting our error. So we've got print string, so it's got about read memory access, print association clashes. So there's a clash of something, a clash of this. And it's some error in three 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 five. So it's talking about the lineage here. Does that just mean that we haven't set the lineage? Should we try and just print out the PID? I think that's always bound to be set. I think we also need to print out some spacing for us as well. So yeah, it didn't like any of that. 3335. So yeah, it didn't like printing out the ID either. So I assume that we're just setting thing those guys wrong, I guess. Would that be fair? Yeah, I mean, none of those should even be touching it. It's only when we get into here that the HTML data should be being talked about. Well, that should be a uint for a start. Ah. What was the other guy doing? That was just regular int. So the ID. Yeah, the ID should be set, at least, shouldn't it? Oh, so shows the lineage actually. So we should be setting the ID and the lineage. I think that's why I thought that they'll be okay to use. So they should be set in the P. Let's step in and see what set unique HTML data is doing. Looks fine to me. Portion associations, so we've got association coming in here. Got that. So we're going to try and fit that first of all. Ah. Maybe this is not the right thing to be doing. HTML does count. I wonder if that count is not set to 0. I think it should be actually. So it's set to that. Which association? So we've got this association. There's no projects yet. Let's just print the ID here. So the ID is hero. The lineage is hero, is also hero, which is fine. Okay. So then it continues. It doesn't clash. We should now have a HMLDs count of 1, yeah. So for each of those guys, strip slashes. So this association has a base string of this. It's got one project currently. So intro to C, and the lineage here, intro to C. Yeah, so that all seems okay. Right, I think everybody's going to be hitting this. Right. So it's just one association with clashing directories. So I think, having done this, let's go down to resolve whatever it's called. Well, let's try and... We will see error counts. I guess we could look at the errors. So there's an error count of 1. Multiple errors. Yeah, I wonder what actually happens. Because strictly speaking, for this association, these errors are going to pile up, basically. It might not matter. It's probably fine, actually, frankly, to let that just happen. Another pile up. I was going to say, strictly speaking, if you've got a clash between two things, that's your error. And then any subsequent clashes aren't going to actually increase the error count because it's still the same error. But I guess it doesn't matter. So yeah, we've got down to there. What is the error count? Probably like as many. It's probably as many projects there are. It's just like 17 projects. Okay. Could we print the errors? Yeah, it's interesting they're all on the same line. So yeah, I guess we could actually push ever and deduplicate those actually, couldn't we? We just I sort of thought that we did. I thought somebody deduplicated errors. But it doesn't matter. We've now got our associations, so let's just have a look at I think there's one association. Apparently there's 4 associations. Cinera.com. So that's HTML dir. Ah, right, okay, so there's these guys. Project. Yeah, this is fine. So most of them are going to have the same HTML dir, but there's going to be 3 more HTML dirs for book, right? For book coad and for book reader. So that's where our 4 are coming from. But these guys should not be actual errors. So the association project count for associations 1, 2, and 3, in other words, this, and this, should be set to 1, I think. Ah, yeah. This project is a pointers to pointers, so this actually needs to be the address, doesn't it? I think that might be it, actually. Ah, can't access memory. So yeah, as expected, 1, 2, and 3, I've got a project count of that, and A count is just 4, isn't it? So we won't actually get up to there. I guess we could look at the association string for everyone. So you can see me attached to a risky book. It probably ends right there. Risky coad and risky reader. So those are those guys. This seems like I just haven't fixed up the project pointers correctly. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't like that, does it? It can't access memory. So I reckon we do have this pointer. Yeah, like this is located somewhere. This thing is a pointer to a pointer, and this thing is a pointer itself. So yeah, with this thing being a pointer itself, you do reference that, and you can't access that. So let's run it again and just see if we encounter the offsetting of projects. Ah, wait a second. For all the associations, oh no, it's the project count. Yeah, it is the actual projects that want to be offsetting. I suppose it could be worthwhile also going to the calling site for these guys. Okay, so let's run it again. And we're here. Oh, right. Ah. I suppose that shouldn't really matter because I don't think that there are any project association pointers at this point. Right, because basically this is just going to be the location. It's going to be the location of the actual thing. Right, so that's located this far into the virtual memory table. But like I say, there's no HML DIRs. Oh, but there will be now. I think that's the problem, isn't it? We need to distinguish between do we need to distinguish between them? I was going to say we need to distinguish between projects that are that reside within the config and projects that don't. Because effectively, we've got a diff here, right? Clearly, because there was no child, so we just had to actually allocate this afresh. I've allocated it afresh. And then there's going to be stuff. There could be project pointers in the HTML DIRs already, which have got nothing to do with this, or specifically. Well, yeah, I mean, they have nothing to do with that. Right, you see? We've come straight in here. Probably one, isn't it? We've got a diff. We've got an aprojects.j. Now, if we just look at that A project count, if you look at the A projects at 0, that's something. Right, there's the ID. There's the lineage. Right, so this guy is actually set up correctly, but unfortunately, we're going to actually increment that, so it ain't going to be right. Right, that's correct. Increment it, do the same thing, and we just can't access it. So how the hell do you handle that? We're talking about this pointer here. I feel like we want to be able to pass this. Or should I say, we want to be able to pass this. I think that's what we want to be passing. We want to be able to say, we want to be able to compare. This is effectively you can call it like the eldest sibling. Right? That's the information that we need to know. So I think we need to store with each project we need to store the elder sibling and compare that. I think that's what you need to do. Right, so where we do this thing, wherever it is. Yeah, I think we basically need to bundle these guys up. You could look at it another way and say products and parents, couldn't you? That might be the more straightforward way of doing it, products and parent. So effectively make push product take the parent also. Although the problem with that is that this is going to be a config, isn't it? project and allocation, maybe. So this is going to be, because we just said push. Oh, mind you, this has been called by both people, isn't it? Push projects is called by both dudes. Right, that's effectively what I'm talking about. Oh, where did I make it? I think it was just before, yeah, just before the P. I mean, it kind of is the elder sibling, but it's just also the, let's just call it the alloc. Right, then this thing needs to know the alloc, doesn't it? Or doesn't it? Yeah, it does, because we wanted to store that. Right, here we go. So, for the project count, should we try that again? See if that actually does something what we want. Let's load it in. It's a little bit unreal. Yeah, we've lost the pointers, haven't we? I think. So, offset session project pointers. I think what do we want to be talking about? Let's just reload it. 3249. Also, I guess we could go through these. Okay. So this is null, isn't it? Yeah. So there's nothing. And then we're going to add the thing, I presume. Again, this is null, isn't it? Yep. So here we go. There is now a HTML does count, probably. There's one project. Now, was this from the same allocation? That is the $1 million question. Apparently not. And the alloc is nothing, isn't it? Here's the null, yeah. So yeah, I think that's fine. Basically, how often? I think we should see this happening for like hero code and hero intro to see. So basically, the next time we come through push project onto project, we should find that the allocation is actually the same, although we'll probably find that the diff isn't. Right, so here we've got the current. The diff's nothing. Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. And that's only a product of the... We haven't hit this number yet. And in fact, we probably won't actually hit that number, for that matter, because nobody's got 8 children. I suppose we could put that number down. We should actually test that number, shouldn't we? If we just reduce it to 2 or something, and let the diff actually do something. Oh, what's going on here? We've got the diff. We've got the alloc, have we? So this is another null. So this is going to be a child of a child. Okay. And we're talking about association. We're talking about this association. Yeah. So still nobody's going to get incremented, are they? Because the alloc is never going to be set to the same thing. That's nothing. ID set to nothing. Right, so nobody's set up yet. Right, because it's just cleared it out. Is that the same dude? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. At least I assume it is. SDL. Yeah, I guess we were just descending into more children. Children of children, effectively. And now current is actually set to something. Do the diff. And I think diff is 0, isn't it? Probably. Yeah. That was xlib. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So we had SDL, then xlib. So that's coming from, in case you, I'm sure you don't know this well enough. Right, they were just siblings, so they're both children of software. So the next time we come through here, we should actually be talking about the child of Ray, like hardware being the child of Ray. So we should find that there's no difference. Right, we haven't had to reallocate this, the pointer to that person's person. Right. Well, let's just step over it. Yeah, diff is not. Diff is 0. Yeah, I'm just stepping to push project. Look at the PID. It's going to be hardware, isn't it? So, I mean, I'm pretty satisfied that these guys are doing what you want it to be doing. Now, if we go down to resolve, where's the print association clashes? So it's clashed that. Now I think we can get that pointer no problem, can't we? And now it's actually set to something. Oops. So it's printed hero and hero. Yeah. Intro to C. Here, intro to C. Error code. Yeah, so I don't want to print out the ID, by the way. I just want to print the lineage. Risky risk. Yeah, and then risky bulk had its own thing. So free the result. Because we know we need to actually die. Free associations. Does this work? Yeah. Free errors. Free other stuff. We don't have a config. So we exit. Perfect. So obviously I want to make that printout look a bit nicer. Print associations, clash with something, so I don't want to print the ID. Let us print out, so it's the HTML dir. So it's a config error, is what it is. No, I think we established, didn't we, that we didn't actually record the position of the error, did we? Or did we? Yeah, because we're not passing the errors through. Like, I don't think we don't tie up the associations with the actual errors. Do we want to do that? Let's just print it a bit nicer for now, and then we can sort of stuff out. So effectively, we know what type of thing it's a config identifier, so we need to print the identifier. Do you have that? Print pair. Yeah, we do have a print pair for the assets root there. Seems like everybody likes to be printing out the identifiers yellow bold, doesn't it? Print type field. Multiple projects share the same. Well, share the same. HTML do, but we can actually determine that from the A ID. It's actually the category, what was it, config identifier strings. Let's say that this, what colour should we make this? Should we make this cyan and then make the actual setting magenta? Oh, actually, no, let's make this magenta. Is that what it is? I think magenta bold, I think is what I like. And then print the lineage in cyan. And also, I think, let's just give it a bit of indentation as well. So I think we need to make it, yeah, we need to make it look like a config error. Oh. Yeah, basically what that moan was about was like, this P lineage is a string, whereas these guys here, well, that's because you can rub 0, can't you? Yeah, you can totally rub 0. So there's no problem. Is it anywhere close to being right? Oh, it's got to be a pointer to the thing. Sorry. What's that look like? Can't we get a multiple approach to the same HTML dir? Wouldn't it be nice as well if it was all indented sort of a bit more? Oops, that wasn't what I wanted. Not necessarily sure whether this should be magenta or what. I mean, it would be even cooler if you could make this thing, this little dude, span the entirety of the thing. But then we're getting into real fancy territory there. Start message. Let's leave it at that. At least we're actually performing the test. That's the main thing. The other thing that I wanted to see was it was the fitting, wasn't it? So when you go to push project, if you just reduce this to 2 temporarily, we should find that the offset thing needs to actually happen. Probably not yet. But yeah, if we just keep doing what we were doing before. So we've got the current. Where's that? That's there. The diff is there. What is the diff set to? The diff is nothing. Basically, we want to be getting to a point where the diff is equal to something. So here we go. Current was set to something. It probably isn't accessible now. Well, it is accessible for some reason. But this is where there's no ID for it. I guess it's just a bogus thing. And you can see interest C is there. Yeah, I reckon this is garbage. Unit. Yeah, this is all. It's all in no man's land, which is perfectly fine. What do we have actually? Let's have a look at the parents. The parent is hero. Okay. That, yeah, it's not set to anything yet. So let's jump into this. We've got some of this. There's 3 projects. Yeah, which would be perfect. Right, because that means that we need to actually start to move some people around. So the alloc is something. For the first allocation, it's not the same. Yeah, which would be about right, wouldn't it? So I guess for the first A, yeah, so I can understand there being one of these. The first actual association was for the hero project. So if you look at this, it's hero. So that ain't gonna have to be readjusted. But the next person is now out of date. Right. Yeah, we see that these guys match, right? So we need to offset these. Now we just saw, didn't we, that trying to print out a projects j dot project.id resulted in something garbage. We do the diff, and then if we do this very same call again, with a bit of luck, we should see that it's intro to C. Yeah. We totally see that. So I think that's just nailed it. Hero, interesting, yeah, perfect. Probably code, isn't it? Hero code, yeah. And then I think that's it, isn't it? Because we're adding the third guy. Right, we're going to increment j, and then it's not going to be less than 3, I think. Yeah. Perfect. So let's just continue. And now we're dying here. keep use after 3. So that was hero. Let's run it again. It was failing on the first child of hero, wasn't it? I sort of feel like we're not actually getting to the right place here, by the way. We need to be getting to here. I think what we want to do is continue on, right? So this is going to be the first child of the hero project. We want to continue on until we've got a diff, effectively, because this diff here was simply because we had to allocate this to begin with. Now we're still looking at hero, and I reckon we've got a diff, haven't we? Yeah. I think HML does count is still just 1, isn't it? Oh, you need to update the base. Don't you? Or don't you? No, you don't. I don't think. Oops. Yeah, it's one of these guys. So there's only one association. and it's 3. So currently this is inaccessible. This pointer is garbage. But when you step over it, then becomes intro to C. Here, intro to C. Oh, okay. Let's just continue stepping through. The parent is Ray. Okay, that sounds fine. Hero Ray. Oh, crap. Yeah, actually, that is exactly what you need to do. So basically, the current, yeah, if it's such current, you do actually need to, when you do the offset associated pointers, you do need to offset the current as well, don't you? Yeah, of course you do. Right. Sorry. Because otherwise, if you don't do the offset, you're always going to be talking about the wrong thing. Right, the allocation has moved, and the project has moved. That's what you actually want to have happen. Let's try that again. Yeah, and now we actually get through. Okay, so that's fine. Right, now go to the push project. Increment that back to 8. And there was also a function that was just doing, it was just sitting there, it was just empty, and it was doing nothing. So I think what I'd like to do is just go and get rid of that function and then call it a day. How do you search for multiple things of white space? Ah. Can't remember where it was, unfortunately. It was to do with the syncDB stuff. That's what it was. So how was I supposed to search for that exactly? Right, if I do this, would that find it? That didn't find it. Yeah, like how are you expected to search for that? Who knows? But that's what it was. That was the thing that I wanted to delete. So yeah, basically, I suppose we should also check that we do handle the actual stuff correctly. We do. So yeah, that was simply enjoying the uniqueness of HTML directories, effectively. We still haven't decided whether to make the HTML that does not exist. Still haven't decided that. Yeah, the title list stuff, we still haven't sorted out that either. I think that'll become a bit more clear as to us as we move on to the template stuff. So yeah, I guess tomorrow, or whenever we next do some stuff on this, we could do this as a quick thing just to produce a bit more say in topics. Alright. This thing shouldn't really be... It just seems a bit weird to me. I mean, maybe that's the right thing to do, but I really don't know. We could start with that. And then another thing I was sort of thinking of was the templates. Basically, rather than having to... I mean, it's essentially deduplicating templates, really. So just to show you what I mean, when we do a init project, what is it? Sync project? Yeah, where we do the set common project, right? If the common project is not the project that we want to be the common project, then we just free the template and then pack these templates up. It might be nice if we could just associate templates with projects. Right, so you just switch the common project to that and it comes with the template that it needs. right? That's probably all it will be, actually. So first of all, you could do it like this, and then another, well, I mean, this won't in itself deduplicate the templates, but you could also have a template structure. So it's like a set of templates, right? It's just a bunch of just a load of templates with paths, and if a project's template path can be found in that list, then you just use the template that's already been packed. You don't bother to pack another template. You just use that very one. So yeah, that's a question. And if we do that, that kind of leads us kind of nicely into the template stuff itself, which I think is the final. It's almost the final thing. We do also need to actually do the upgrade the database thing. I'll just make a note of that. Please do that. Maybe that should be the thing we do first. Right, so we do this quick thing here. See what characters are added and CSS identifiers, so we can do that stuff. Do the upgrade DB, so we're in the new format. And also, I think in part of the database, I think I might also right, this is the thing that Casey does. He just you just add some padding to the end of these structs. Right. Just in case you want to store some more information about those things in the future. And if you do want to store some more information, then great, you just go ahead and do it. If you don't do that, and you subsequently want to add some more stuff to the structures, then you actually need to upgrade the whole database to those structures, because the size of the things that you're storing are different, and you can't you can't use a database that's using different size things when you actually resize the structures effectively. So they could later add stuff to them, but I need to upgrade. Yeah. And then do you do the templates over in that? And then once we've done that, I think we want to do, well, we're basically onto the template stuff, but we can note down the stuff for that when we get there. So how long have we done? 3.25 hours. That'll do for now. Thank you very much, Heroes and Heroines, for being there, for being square, for being beautiful, and for doing whatever we did today, which was clashing, wasn't it? Abbreviations. Did we not use the word clash? Associating. Oh, it was in the config. Config.c. Pronunciation clashes. Yeah. Thank you for associating. Until next time. Farewell for now.